Welcome. Okay, my job is easy. I get to introduce everybody and then walk away. We save the best for last. Jimmy Douglas, who needs very little introduction, but we're going to have to give him one anyway. And here to help navigate Jimmy in our conversation would be PK Pandey, Sergio Molho, both um, audio engineers, director of marketing, and leader of our Miami office at WSDG, Sergio, and PK from Symphonic Acoustics, also a Miami resident, and so is Jimmy, a Miami resident. So we're going to allow them to bounce around in the conversation, but certainly end up in Miami and even discuss what's going on down there. I'm going to hand it over to you two.
Thank you very much, John. Hi, everybody. Hi, Jimmy. Welcome.
Thank you, thank
The
you.
senator.
In action.
What are you doing in Miami?
What
How
am
you
I-
landed in Miami? Why are you in Miami?
I am in Miami because I ended up in the early 2000s working there so much and staying in hotels that I decided maybe I should just be here. With Missy and Timberland and a multitude of other acts, I was working at a hit factory a lot. So I decided just to set up roots down there, and I just kind of never left.
Wow, amazing. And, reading your accolades, Grammy Award in winning engineer. How many Grammys do you want?
I have 5 Grammys.
Wow.
That I have the Grammy. There's 2 other Grammys I have that I was an associate.
Okay.
So yeah,
But it's a Grammy.
I had a lot of nominations too. Can't win them all.
Absolutely. Okay, and collaborations with Rolling Stones, Roxy Music, Slave, Snoopy Dogg, Bjork, Odyssey, Gang, blah 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 blah. Endless list. And I'm
Endless.
sure we are missing some of them. Correct?
We're missing a lot. We're missing.
Yeah, how many is it? Is it like 850 plus?
No,
I went to
there's-
Discogs just, Googling you, and it was 856 records. Which was the first one? Do you remember? Was it Aretha?
I don't remember which was first. I really don't. It could have been. I'll just say Aretha.
Yeah, 1970.
Okay, there you go.
1970.
There you go.
That's fantastic. And you were you a staff engineer at Atlantic?
No, I wasn't. I was a kid running around, just doing shit for them. It wasn't really called an assistant. It was because the record company was part of the studio, so I was just part of the whole collection. But I wasn't tagged as an engineer, and I shouldn't have been able to do that. But I'm a smart guy, and
And I'm curious. Tell me about Tommy Dowd and your relationship with Tommy.
so. Tommy Dowd is the guy that decided from the studio when I'd hang out at night doing tape copies for them. He's the guy who decided that maybe this kid knows what he's doing, and let's give him some more opportunities to fuck up. But no, he didn't. No, he really believed in me, and he was able to. He was really his whole attitude was like, "We need help. Here you go. If you can do it, you can do it." And that's kind of how I worked my way up the ladder. It was never officially like, you're going to be. It's like, you became because you did the job.
Yeah.
Which
And Tommy was instrumental in bringing some of that work to Miami.
He was instrumental. Matter of fact, Tommy, when Tommy was in Miami, I was running New York a lot because he was absent.
Yeah.
And the hole had to be filled. I wasn't filling Tommy's shoes. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, his presence in New York in that studio was gone. So, kind of like graduation, those around that could move up the ladder a little bit.
And John had a great relationship with Tom as well, and asked him to design Studio E over at Criteria.
Ah,
Yeah.
very nice.
The room that we were in. That's the room.
That's the room.
John M. Storvik.
Yeah. And imagine when you did Timbaland Studios,
Well,
that was a moment.
So for me and John, we go back a little even earlier than that. When I was at Atlantic, and I'd come into my own, I think early '80s, I'd come into my own as something. We were rebuilding the Studio B, and they picked this guy, John Stork,
Yeah.
to rebuild the Studio B. But me being the skeptic that I was, even though I know nothing about it,
Yeah.
he has great ideas as he does then, and I still know nothing about anything, and I still think I know what I'm doing. And so when it came down to, he did a great job in that Studio B at Atlantic Studios. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Well done, mate. And
Wow.
and through that pulling and tugging, when it came time that I ended up in a position of Timberland and saying, why are we spending all this money?
Look at that.
We can build our own studio right
There
next
you
door
go.
to another studio. We're spending money.
Yep.
And invited John in, and he helped. Dude, we did the things that John did for me doing that. It came from the love from the Studio B war. But he did things that were just impossible. You can see there's not a crevice that's not used.
Yes.
And,
every single corner.
Maximizing every inch.
Maximize everything. It's fucking awesome. We cut Sexy Back in that studio, the Nelly Furtado in that studio. I'm trying to think of all the things that we did. We did a lot of great records in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know a magic story? The doors and diffusers of that studio came from Argentina. So imagine full circle.
Yeah.
So that's why whenever I walked through the doors, I would say something in Spanish, and I didn't know why. It was
It's
the doors.
like a magic. It's the
Okay.
are the doors.
But one of the
magic.
great things I do remember is that window that he put on the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vocal booth over there.
Yeah.
And the control. And for me, I was like, that is genius. You can sit at the console and look into the sunlight behind the people. It made that little vocal booth feel like a room. It made it feel like space. You didn't feel like you were in a box.
Yeah, it's key to know what time of day it is.
And that as well, because I'm one of those people that I'm like, why are we still here, guys?
Yeah.
Let's beat the sun and leave before the sun comes up.
Oh, they have an
That's
official
good.
term for that called circadian rhythm now, or something like that. That's what
Yeah.
they call it.
And Jimmy, what about the vibe inside of the studio? How important is the vibe, the feeling to get immersed into a created atmosphere? What's important in your craft to be in a space that inspires you?
For me, I like a space that just disappears. Like, I don't want any of the stuff around me to dictate what we're doing, because it's just a distraction. And I'm not saying it's not wrong, I'm not saying it's not better, but I just like a flow, and I like everything to be close, and I like everything to flow. I really don't want to move out of the chair.
Gotcha.
You know, I'll move up and down the console. I like that, gives you exercise. But I don't really want to get up and go, oh, we don't have that. Oh, let's not waste time, but let's take this time now while we're grooving, we're vibing. We got to shut down to go get that. We could have thought about that.
Yeah.
So basically, your sweet spot
Sweet spot.
and everything surrounding you.
Well, that rack right there.
Yeah.
The producer's desk, as it were.
Yes, right
it
here.
had gear all around. You just kind of sit there. You turn the gear. You move around.
Interesting. And look at the room.
Nice room.
Nice
Is that an
room.
awesome room?
You know, it's. I remember when entering this room, and it sounds really natural. You know, all this wooden
So
atmosphere.
So that room, when we built it, the first record we did there, well, the first record I did, but I did this group called, I'm not going to remember their names, the group from Brooklyn. And I broke the room in with them. It was a proper band and everything. The next record was just that Justin Timberlake record,
Okay.
the Sexy Back. And so when he showed up, we didn't have any gobos. We had no protection for the sound. And that room is very live. It's live.
Yes, it's
It's
tall.
controlled, but to just put a vocalist in that room, there's reflections. So, check this out. I went to Home Depot, and I bought 3 Home Depot doors, and I bought 6 moving blankets, and I put them in the middle of the room, and I put the moving blankets across it, and it looked like hell in the middle of this beauty, but it worked.
And here we come, variable acoustics.
You invented.
No, amazing.
So you were talking about the big consoles as you were showing, but your current workflow. I remember you had the console in there.
That's my room.
Yeah. And
That's
then
my joint.
I went in there another day and I said, oh, the console's not there. So you have a new workflow. So tell us about your new workflow. And I know you're really engaged in immersive audio and these mixes that you're doing and remixing all these records. Tell Talk to us about that a little bit.
So, this is my studio. Yes, yes, yes.
Lovely. And everything is really close to you. I can see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything is really close, and there's racks of shit, and there's more shit, but I'm sitting there, right there, and there's the big stereo monitors. Is if I want to blast out, play club music, do whatever, there they all are. But as you were mentioning, the Atmos, you can see these are the top front Atmos speakers, and then these would be the side guys,
And I'm sure
and
that
these
you,
would be the front guys. So, and you can't see behind me, but that's my room in Atmos. So I'm using, I was just using speakers that I had enough of to go around, and honestly, it's a lot of fun. You can see it on the desk. It's open. I was actually mixing
Yeah.
Atmos when you got this.
Yeah, you're
this
rendering.
Picture. I'm rendering.
yeah, nice.
Um,
and I like
it's-
that you have the lava lamp.
Well, that's important, when you got
Yeah.
Vibe.
It's the vibe.
vibe.
It's total vibe.
No, I follow you.
The mixes don't sound like anything, but the fucking vibe is incredible.
And what is in your horizon? How do you see the industry and our mixing environments to evolve? You see more like this? You see the large flagship mothership studios? What is your intuition,
So-
knowing everything you know?
Well, from what I've learned, I'll just say what I've learned. And I've learned with the clients that I'm working with. I don't work with like a lot of rock bands that need a lot of open space, recording drums. There's a lot of sampling, a lot of in-the-box stuff. I have 3 rooms. This is my room, which is the biggest of them all. Then I have a second room that has a little AWS SSL in it.
Yeah.
Very small, not exactly as much gear as here. And then I have another room in the back, which is just a room. It's really a freaking room.
Yeah.
And here's what happens. People come through, they see my room, and they start bowing, and they respect, and they go, oh my God, this is amazing. It's a lot of stuff for them. And they go, this is amazing. I'm like, yeah. And I said, let me show you the other room. Because that's a vocal booth. I mean, that's a recording room there. So I go to the other room, and there's a little vocal booth, and it's a smaller little room with less gear, and they go, oh yeah, now this is what I like. And I'm like, really? You just saw all that and you like this? And they're like, yeah. I said, let me show you this room in the back. All it is a production room, no vocal booth, no nothing. It's really...
It's an office.
It's an office.
It's an office with gear.
And they walk in and there's a couch and they go, oh no, this is what I'm talking about. And they get excited.
Okay.
So when you ask me what I see about the future, it ain't this. That's just the experience I've had from speaking to people.
We are seeing the same.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
What are you working today? Which projects are you working today that you can share? Of
well,
course.
I'm doing this guy named Saba, a rapper from Chicago. It's a good record, very, very good record. And I was doing some of the mixing actually while I was at the show here. I was finishing some of the touch-ups in the evening. Not at a studio, just over in the corner over there with my laptop. Yeah.
Okay.
What a
And
great new world
so-
we have.
Okay. And what about the Met Alliance? You want
What
to tell
about
us?
what about the Met
Yeah.
Alliance?
What is this audio mafia thing that you got there?
Whoa. No. You know what it is? It's the Met Alliance, I believe started with like Phil Ramone,
Yeah.
Al Schmidt, some of the great heads that I bow to, like, oh my God, and they were just trying to get together to kind of have fun and also look at the audio industry and look at some of the stuff that's available, some of the stuff that's made, not made, and try to, put their 2 cents in where it can make a difference so that the end user can get better quality stuff, that people make stuff that makes sense. That's kind of what they were about. So they enlisted me into it, and I was like, yeah, sounds interesting. So, we gather, we look around, we see what's going on, and try to help wherever we can.
No, it's a super interesting concept, and we are proud of it, and we think that it's a kind of determine the level, the threshold, the quality, the respect for the craft.
That's exactly good word.
Those are the
Respect
missions.
for the craft.
Yeah, and important for future generations that are going to be working on offices with gear or e-studios or small studios. So I think that more and more that's going to be super important to have guidelines.
Yes.
And that resonates with the interview we had with Rob Jasko. They could use 100 of these small little production rooms.
Yeah.
So that's
Just 100? No, I'm
No,
serious.
I think it's gonna be thousands.
Yeah,
hundreds of,
it's just too easy to do. I think connecting them might be an interesting thing of the future. People are doing more of that, collaborating online,
Yeah.
and yeah, just to get the feel of the studio, and to me that's valuable as well because you're getting real time information back and forth. It's a different experience. You play, you send me file. First of all, it's not music; it's a file.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me that earlier today. They were like, but did you hand in so did you hand the record in? I went, no, I handed a file in. It's not a record anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like, yeah, you send me files. I look at them, I play with them, I send them back, but we're not really connected. If we can be online together and almost pretend like we're in the studio, then we can hash it out together, live, on time. You don't like what I'm doing, you tell me right now. So I'll go and think a different direction. If you don't hear what I did, you can't know how to say what you're going to say until you hear it. But that's also a day later, and now I'm on to something else. I'm sitting here doing an interview after I did the part last night. I was passionate. I really don't care today. That's not true. I do care, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Thanks God that we are gonna need to have human interaction,
Yeah.
you know, and we have to gather together, and things happen. Magic happens when we are together in the same room, as musicians, as human, in any activity.
Also, disaster.
We can party also. Come on.
But yes, I do think that this cloud computing or cloud studio, if you want to call it,
Cloud studio.
is going to be coming forward. I've already seen this in the broadcast world where they have virtual trucks or cloud trucks. They're just recording everything to the cloud and they're working up there and they can be anywhere doing that. So
I'm so
I think that's
scared.
going to come into our world soon. And that way you can have your dream.
What's my dream?
Just to work on it, they can comment right away. You don't have to send files back and forth. Everyone's in a shared file. Maybe not your dream.
I mean, am I living the dream or am I dreaming about the life? That's the question. Sorry, that's what I do all day.
Okay, that's great, Jimmy. Thank you very, very much
All right.
for
Thank
being
you.
here. You're a light in our industry. You're super important. Keep growing, keep rocking, keep
Don't believe
making
the
music,
hype, but
please.
thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Jimmy Douglas, everybody.